Well, clear water is absolutely gorgeous. Think of the Caribbean, but it makes a lot of anglers panic. Depending how you grew up fishing and the types of waters you fished really makes a difference on what type of clarity you're comfortable with. For me, I fished up in reclaimed strip mines, so the water was always crystal clear. I'm very comfortable with it. Fishing dirty water for the longest time just completely freaked me out. Well, you may be the opposite. Maybe you're used to fishing some stained water or dirty water, and then you get to a place that has crystal clear water, and you start to panic. Well, here are 7 different tips that I think will make you a master or on your way to becoming a master of clear water fishing. Number 1, distance is your friend. And as far as distance, I mean both horizontal and vertical. As far as horizontal, those extra long casts are so critically important. So if you're used to fishing dirtier water, you want to make sure that you can throw those lures a long ways. And then the same thing with fishing deep. Make sure that you kind of practice them up before you get to some clearer water lakes, but distance is your friend. Number 2 is keep in mind those bass can really sense where you are. Of course, water is denser than air and they can pick up vibrations, right? But the real thing I'm talking about here is that sight. I have just been amazed when I'm filming underwater how far I can actually see. And I would sure assume that the eye of a bass, since that's their environment, they can see farther than what we can with that underwater camera. So for example, the sun, when it's behind you casting shadows, they can really see that. The boat hull, they can really see that. So if you're gonna go up and kind of, pitch around some docks and stuff like that, approach very carefully and just always be thinking about they're probably sensing us way earlier than we realize. Number 3, fluorocarbon is your friend. Now, I love to fish with braid, but I put a fluorocarbon leader on there. But if you're fishing any depth whatsoever, okay, finesse fishing especially, fluorocarbon is basically invisible. It refracts light differently. So if you haven't tried fluoro in clear water, definitely give it a shot. It will help. Now, when it comes to fishing techniques, in my opinion, you've got the extremes of 2 options. 1, you can go ultra finesse, okay? I'm talking tiny and slow, and there's a lot of great clear water anglers, that's what they do. They really let those lures soak and they fish very slowly. Well, you've got the other end of the spectrum as well, and those are reaction baits. My favorite clear water reaction bait is to rip suspending jerk baits. Those fish can see it at an incredible distance, and it's just one of those clear water presentations that I love to take advantage of. Now, as far as the clarity, use that to your advantage. A lot of times the strike zone, the distance that a bass is willing to bite, is greater in clearer water. Think about big glide baits in really clear water. They can draw fish up from such a distance. The same goes with topwater lures. I've been fishing on reservoirs like Bull Shoals Lake, down at the lower end by the dam when it's really clear, throwing a big walking bait, and man, those smallmouth just come rifling out of the bottom to attack. So remember, that strike zone is bigger. Use that to your advantage. Next is definitely be aware of the sun and the shadows, okay? As far as shadows go, be careful as far as your shadow casting onto the water, a moving shadow that doesn't look natural to them in their environment. But also as far as shadows go, target those the best that you can. We're talking shadows created by trees, docks, those types of things. And that really clear water, that light is really intense, okay? Just gets into that water column and is very bright. So target shadows all day long. And the other thing I like to focus on is when that sun is up high and overhead, really think about the silhouette factor. I like to use black, okay, black frogs or, black topwater, because in those silhouette type situations, that solid black profile, when that fish is looking up towards the sun, stands out much better than lighter colors. And the last one is the light penetration line. How far down does that sunlight reach into the water? Target the area where your lures are just out of sight, and then find places where that depth intersects with other types of cover or structure, and you're off to an excellent start for your clear water fishing. And hey, if you want to watch a video that goes into more depth on that light penetration line, make sure that you check this one out right here. And hey, go out and encourage someone today. You never know how you might just change their life. For the Bass Fishing Life, I'm your host, Steve Rogers.